hopefully after all do. That's River.
Daryl, secretary.
Here.
Megan Larrabee.
Here.
Gisela.
Here.
Elazar.
Here.
And Tamara.
Here.
All right, Greg.
Awesome. Thank you very much. In your packet, you should have been received the minutes from our September 20th meeting. Are there any changes the board would like to make to that? I do have a point for discussion. Tia, are you finalizing the minutes, or are you guys doing a combination of that with you and Amy?
That is me.
That is you? Okay. How quick after the meetings are you doing them? My question is, it'd be good to get those out quicker. Is it fresh in our mind? You know, maybe the following week so we have it and review it. And sometimes it's hard to look back a month to remember everything. Is that possible?
Yes, I believe so. What I do for the public meeting requirements is I post the meeting as quick as possible. I post the recording online,
Okay.
typically 1 or 2 days after in order to meet those requirements. But yes, with the administrative assistant, my intent is to get that done quicker, and I think we should be able to send those out earlier, and then maybe make your notes. You can't review them obviously because we need to be actually at the public meeting for
Yeah.
that discussion, but I think we can send them out earlier so you can review them while everything's fresh in your mind.
Okay, if that's possible. If it's not, totally understand. I've just done that on some others, and it's helpful to me anyway.
I think we can do that.
Are you trying out the feature, the auto?
I am. You all might have seen a summary approval thing pop up. There's this new capability on Zoom that there's an AI that will actually create a summary. I'm hoping that'll make the process quicker as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, if no other changes, I didn't hear anybody else speak up. I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So move.
Okay,
A second.
thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the September 20th, 2023 minutes, please say aye.
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 Any contrary minded? Okay, chair votes aye. Minutes have been approved. Okay, now's the time for public comment. We're on to agenda item number 4. Do we have any public with us today? I believe we do. But now's the opportunity for a public comment regarding discussion items that are not on the agenda today. I see that we have our interim board applicants here and would like to encourage them to introduce themselves and tell us why they would like to be part of the board at this time. To indicate that you would like to provide testimony, please raise your hand, or in that case, just say hi. Because I think both are attending in person, I believe. Correct?
Yeah,
It should be Jody and John.
Yeah, both of them are here. Maybe you guys can wave your hands so the camera will see you. But maybe we'll just start with Matt since you're to my left.
Great, thanks. My name is Matt Altoff. I've been a Hood River resident for 3 years, relocated from abroad. I have a background in finance. I think you've probably seen my application, kind of touting my quantitative skills and decision making, which I think are my strengths that I would bring to the board. In sort of reading up about the district, seems like you guys are going in a really great direction. I like the focus on electric vehicles and low carbon footprint. I definitely think it'll be an interesting next few years to see Hood River continue to grow and see how the district sort of evolves to serve all the constituents that they need to. So I would love to be part of that. I am trying my best to get involved in the community, and I think this is a great opportunity. So I would love the board's consideration.
Awesome. Thanks for stepping up and applying. Love that.
Yeah,
And Jody,
does anyone have any questions for me particularly, or is this not a Q&A session?
I think let's go ahead and move on to Jody, and I think if anybody has any questions, we'll do that during our resolution action items section.
Okay, I'm Jody Bear. I've lived in Hood River for since 1994, so almost 29 years. I'm also a civil engineer. And when I moved here in 94, I was working for a company in Portland on the Hillsborough Light Rail. So I've been working on transit projects as a civil engineer and manager for all that time. So I have familiarity with really design and construction. The things I read some of the board meetings, the things I don't really have familiarity with is maintenance and operations, a little bit, and also planning. Anyway, but I'm kind of in the industry, but the reason that I'm willing to volunteer as a board member is I'm super passionate about everything other than driving cars, especially single occupancy vehicles. So, and I've been promoting active transportation in Hood River for a really long time. It's really hard to do that as an individual, even though I own a business, it's still on team. So, but I don't need to be part of the CAT board to support CAT. And anyway, and I also was really clear in my application that I ask questions and I'm not a yes. I don't know what you call it, but a yes person. Like I'm not interested in being on a board just to give other people the ability to say, well, Jody didn't ask us any questions, so it must be okay. Because I've experienced a bit of that in this town, and it's a small town, and it's as political as I think everywhere else in the country. So, and my other concern was I have a lot of things, I'm 60 now, and I have a lot of things that I want to do. So I asked Amy about like potential conflicts of interest. Because I want to do some transit oriented development, small, like town scale. But Amy was really clear that I'd just recuse myself from anything that could be a potential conflict that I was making a decision on. Anyway, so yeah, that's who I am.
awesome.
Wonderful. Thank
I
you, guys.
did get
Thank
the
you for
opportunity to
being
talk to Matt. I didn't get the opportunity to talk to Jody, but do either of you have any, personal conflicts that would, or just conflicts in general that would prohibit you from attending meetings on a regular basis on the third Wednesday of the month?
No conflicts. I'm in between careers at this day, so I have plenty of time to dedicate to the board.
Yeah, I don't have any, I travel quite a bit for work and other things, so, but I can do it online as well if I'm traveling. So, yeah.
Other questions from board members for him?
I do, and I read both of your applications, but refresh, are you interested in a long-term time with the board? Are you looking at the 2-year tenure? What is your overall goal?
So you're looking at me, so I'll answer.
Yeah,
first.
yes,
Is that
that's
okay?
fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So my response was, it depends on how the first 2 years go. And I talked a little bit about having volunteered on some other committees in the city and found them to be, Megan Rainey knows about one of them, but really difficult to be on because they were looking for yes people. And so I was like, so if it's something where I can contribute, but also receive from, I wrote it pretty well, like the well-being has to be for me as well as my contribution to the community. Anyway, so that I'm not just being such drive. Yeah,
I'm in it for the long haul. I mean, we moved here to make this our sort of forever place. I've got 3 kids and, you know, in terms of service to the community, and to this particular board, completely open-ended and, you know, I would 100% intend to run again in 25.
Wonderful. Well, again, thank you for being here and thank you for your honest answers. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, any other board members? Just making sure you have the chance. All right. Thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate it. Love the interest in contributing to the community. All right, we're on to any other, before we go there, any other public in the room that I may not see or other comment?
Nope, no other public.
Okay. I'd like to move on to agenda item number
Actually,
5.
Greg, I'm sorry. There's no other public in the room. Hovi Arellano, I'm sorry, Hovi, I'm not sure I said your last name correctly. She is our new regional coordinator from ODOT, or temporary interim. Valerie Egon has left to pursue another opportunity at the state of Oregon. So she is our contact at ODOT. And Hovi, if you want to just introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, and you did good on my, it's Hovi Ariano. I live in Bend and I work for ODOT and the regional transit coordinator as a regional transit coordinator. So I will help this committee as well as Amy and her crew execute and go for grants that are through ODOT and make sure that we have the right resources for this group. So happy to be here and just ping me. I'm gonna listen in and just find out more about Hood River. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Can
you,
you get us more money than Valerie?
Valerie was really good at that.
Yeah.
You know, I think that there's some more opportunities coming up next year for discretionary grants and I will do my best.
All right. Perfect. Great answer. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. And
No,
appreciate
thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, on to agenda item number 5, the financial report. Tia, floor is yours.
All right, so in your packets, you guys will see that I have included the budget versus actuals as well as the statement of activity. Like we spoke about before, just so you guys on the monthly basis, have that to see where we are at. We so far are trending on track for everything on the budget versus actuals. Does anybody have any questions on either of those documents that were provided? Okay. The grant reimbursements, those are going, well, they've started. I'm hoping to have them all submitted by within the next couple weeks, have those finalized for Q1. And I wanted to give you guys an update on the banking situation. So I have submitted everything for the LGIP account and followed up with them. And they said that everything should be finalized and it should be up and running by the end of next week. Our account structure with Umpqua was finalized yesterday. So that will be an action to get that, all the funds separated in the appropriate, account. And then our credit cards should be, we should be receiving those any day. Any questions?
Yeah. Okay, who has credit cards? And what are the limits on the credit cards?
So the credit cards are, so Amy has one, I have one, Jeff, and then we have 3 field supervisors that have credit cards. The access, can you help me with that?
We haven't set up the access for each individual card yet. But what we did do for the last business cards that we had, there was $1,000 limit for the field supervisors. And then both Tia and Jeff had I think 8,000 and then the total was 10,000. I have asked for a limit of 10,000 total, because that will allow us, if we need to, pay for tows, expensive parts, with businesses that we don't already have accounts with. Our intent is always to have an account with one of those parts companies. But sometimes we don't, and we need to purchase something quickly. And the reason why the field supervisors have credit cards is on the weekends, they are the people that are in charge, upper management. So myself, Tia, and Jeff are not necessarily here, but we are available on call if necessary. But I felt it was important that they had access to their own credit card that they can monitor, if in case they need to make purchases on the fly, for example, windshield wiper for cars, or again, a tow, or anything in order to keep operations moving. That shouldn't wait till Monday.
And we do have, also, when we receive the new cards, we went through the process with the last ones, but everybody will sign a, we have a form that Amy and I worked on that I take a copy of the card, so it has the number and it's on the form. And then it's just an acknowledgement that they're responsible for the card, any expenses that are not approved, just that information. So we have that, and they're fully aware of the expectation and understanding of that.
Another piece is, in case they accidentally use it for a personal reason, it is their responsibility to let us know immediately that they used it. And they do need to submit the proper documentation with any purchase that they make.
Correct.
And that is something that Tia then reconciles with the information that we get from the bank of what are the purchases, making sure she has all the credit cards and understands why they were used.
Is it a monthly or a weekly reconciliation?
It's a monthly reconciliation. Now, so it formally gets reconciled monthly, but I do review expenses. I get an email anytime, because what we do is if somebody makes a purchase, they fill out a JOT form. So it's what we use to track it. So anytime a JOT form is completed, it sends me an email. So I'm notified of that, but I also look at the bank account daily. And so I may not reconcile it daily, but I put eyes on it just to make sure that everything is looking on track. So. Yeah.
Good question.
Well, I know it's not, always our people, but I've had to deal with recently, scammers or, people spending money at prisons in Alabama and California.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, unfortunately, that's why, well, we've had to run into a couple of issues here and there, but we've caught it because of our checks and balances system that we have. But also I felt it was important that the folks that do have an assigned credit card do have one that's assigned to them. So we're not passing one card around to different people. That way we have eyes on it and we know where they are.
Easy to distinguish where the charge.
Yeah.
Was.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Of course. Did somebody else have a question? Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Tia. Appreciate that. All right, on to agenda item number 6, resolution and action items. Amy, please go ahead.
Thank you. So the first item is the employee handbook update. Over the past year, there have been several instances where the board has approved certain changes to the handbook. But I also wanted to ensure that it was compiled together and the board got an opportunity to see the thing in entirety and to approve those changes so we can have a formalized updated version. The main changes were the step increases for the office employees to reflect the change that was approved during the budget committee process, as well as the paid leave organ policy. These have both been vetted by our HR consultant. We also updated the paid leave policy and the different changes that were approved through the union update process that we went through. Were there any questions? Everything was either the changes were tracked or there was some highlighted things that were changed. I will have to go back and do some formatting to make it prettier. But were there any changes on the content?
It was all stuff that I was aware of. Are these printed or are they just sent electronically or available for them to access?
So we have a couple printed versions in the office, so people can read them and that we give them when they are onboarded. We also send it to them through Gusto, which is our payroll processing software, and they are asked to read it and acknowledge it and sign the form, and they can do that digitally.
Okay.
And then that gets saved in their employee files in Gusto.
And that's normally when somebody's hired. So when these changes are happening, is that going to happen again, that the new handbook's out and they'll get it?
Correct. So once this is approved, I'll clean up the formatting and I will Tia will make a deputy post, which is how we communicate with all of our employees. That's also how we have people do their time clock in and clock out. But that we will send a message through there. And then we will send out through Gusto the digital document and form to complete. And then we will also print out a couple in the office, so people who do not like to read things online can do so in a paper format.
Okay.
And then he will make sure and confirm that everybody has signed it and read it.
I did have a question generally. How often do the staff review the employee handbook as like a mandatory requirement? Do they review it like once a year, or is it only done as needed?
So we do not require them to review it on an annual basis. I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. We do ask whenever they have a question that is covered in the employee handbook, we will typically bring the employee handbook out and show it to them where they can find that information. But we typically only require them to review when we make updates or changes. But you know, I like the idea of doing quizzes. And sometimes I do quizzes.
No.
Yeah, just wondering. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we need a motion here, correct, Amy, to approve it?
Yes, please.
I move to approve the handbook for our employees.
Thank you, Tamara. Do we have a second?
I second that.
Appreciate that, Megan. Any further discussion on the handbook? Okay, all those in favor of approving the handbook as presented in our meeting materials, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, chair votes aye. Handbook is approved.
Wonderful, thank you. So the next item is review of board member candidates. So this, depending on the outcome of today's meeting, will potentially be Daryl's last meeting. So you have been presented with some two great candidates that you
Where did he go?
received. I think he had to sign off.
Okay.
Because we met quorum, he let me know that you might have to sign
Oh.
off. We have some two amazing candidates. You have received their application in the board meeting materials. And the ask for you is to discuss if you feel comfortable to move forward with one of the candidates. And if so, to make a motion.
Amy, do you want us to leave?
Yeah, this is
You guys
awkward.
I mean, often that's what happens, like, we're not in the room, so everyone's free to like.
We have done it both ways. If you would like to, we can do that. If you feel more comfortable, would you guys like to
What do you
step out?
think, Matt?
I mean, yes.
You should go talk
Okay.
to each other.
There
Alright, that sounds great.
We can workshop in the hall there.
All right,
Wait, so this is still part of the public meeting
correct.
where we
Yeah.
vote on the person, who should fill the spot?
Yes.
Okay.
But if you wanna discuss, whatever, I'd rather
Yeah.
just read and
We
talk
can't, we can't do it as an executive session. So it's gonna be public no matter what, but you guys, if you would feel more comfortable, you are free to remove yourselves from the space.
I think.
Okay.
That's great.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah. The discussion though does have to be.
Yeah.
All right, they are now out of the room if you guys would like to have discussion.
I guess, I mean, I just reviewed their, I heard their intros and reviewed their resumes. And I did think that I recognized Matt's name from running for Parks and Rec. And I felt, to me, I was like, oh, this, and I don't know either of these people, but that was a sign to me of someone that's like really wants to get engaged and involved in the community. So I appreciated that as like an honest sentiment. And I felt like I should just say that.
And I mean, I actually enjoy his enthusiasm. I really get it, because I came to the board with that same type of thing. And what's hard for me is the background and the experience that Jody could bring. Because of the next couple of years with the west side expansion, is that something that's needed? And it sounds like she's had some not so good experiences. So, yeah, that's where. But I agree with Megan. The enthusiasm is very encouraging.
And if you guys do want to move forward with Matt, there are still ways to ensure Jody is incorporated through our statewide transportation improvement fund advisory committee. That would be also a great opportunity for anyone who is really interested in our services and how we can provide the best services possible to our community.
Am I allowed to comment?
Let's let the
Okay.
board members
Okay,
discuss, and then
sure.
if there's any questions.
I feel the same with Matt. I mean, he was, really quick to introduce himself and just he's super friendly. I talked to him a couple times around town. But yeah, I like the enthusiasm as well.
I think we're blessed to have two qualified candidates. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
One with an engineering background that again really could help us through some of the planning processes we're going to undertake with some of these grants to fund our EV vehicles and charging and a new bus stop. That's a experience we don't have on the existing board. But again, I had a great conversation with Matt, over the phone on why he wanted to get involved. I take him as sincere and really wanting to do that and try to make a difference in the community. That's great. He's trying to get involved in the community he lives in. So I think either one would be a great choice. Sometimes you look at the makeup of your board and, where do we have a weakness, that we're trying to fill. And obviously we're using Daryl, who, has some financial acumen. And I know there's been other interest, Tamara specifically, to, take that treasury role, but to have another financial person like Matt would serve as well. And I'm playing middle of the road too, because I like, since we don't have the experience of building and what we're getting into, Jody would be good as well. I'm almost a coin flip on it.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. They're pretty solid candidates from what I could read on their application. And I don't know, I wish I was in person because I feel like I would be able to tell more of just, I guess, how they present themselves as well. But either candidates seem really strong to me. Yeah, I'm not sure if Amy, if you've gotten a chance to speak with them a bit more as well.
So I got a little bit of a chance to talk to Matt, and I worked with Jody with the transit master plan, as well as with a couple other CAT related topics, and they're both great candidates. sorry, I really do want you guys to make this decision, so, but I really think we're really lucky here, you've got two very engaged folks, that, I think I would be very honored to serve on my board. I was talking to both of them and, they asked me kind of what was really important. And I said, the things that I really appreciate, which I think I've said to all of you, is board members who are willing to ask the hard questions, to ask the questions that, you know, might be uncomfortable, and to help me see different points of view, as you guys are all technically my bosses. So it really helps to have those different points of view and to have those individuals who are willing to kind of challenge and dive more into topics.
And I'd like to hear from Jeff if he has some words. Always more info the better.
Yeah, I think the only two things that I was gonna call out is similar to what you said about Daryl leaving and his financial background. That was a standout to me. And then also it sounded like Jody's gonna stay involved in transit either way, and maybe is still gonna be a resource or someone we can continue communicating with. I feel like I'm kind of picking a side here, but those are the two things I just wanted to point out.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
So it's up to the, board member to make a nomination or a recommendation, right?
Yes, it is.
I move, to call the vote. And I am going to recommend Matt.
I
Okay.
second.
You second the vote or you second Matt?
I second Matt, or I second whatever you need to second so we can proceed to vote.
I'm not sure here either. But it sounds like if somebody's presented and then, we go through that process and we have the majority votes, we're there.
Yeah, so, sorry.
We have a first and a second.
So, and specifically, it's a move to vote to appoint Matt as the interim board member until June 30th, 2025.
Tamara, you're good with that wording?
Yes, I am.
So any further discussion on this?
Then just to clarify, Megan, you're good seconding that specific wording?
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor of Matt, is it Altoff? Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Please say aye.
I
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any contrary minded? So I think that's our answer.
All right, thank you. I know that was a tough decision to make, so I appreciate it. And then I believe I do have a stiff advisory committee opening or position opening, so I will probably bring that to you next week, depending on what Jody says. But I'll go ahead and invite them back in, and we'll let them know. And I think the encouragement is to invite Jody to be part of the stiff advisory committee.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Elzar.
Ready?
Yeah, that's how it works. Anyway, it's really interesting.
I know, I am sorry, this air conditioning in this room is not working. It's been a kind of a process to go through the procurement process. But anyway, so that is something should be coming to a close as soon as possible. But anyways, the board did vote to approve Matt as the interim board member. But they are, and they can join in here in a second, but they would like to invite you to think about being part of our Stateway Transportation Improvement Fund Advisory Committee, the STIF committee.
Advisory committee, okay.
Yeah, which meets, it meets a couple times a year, but the purpose of that committee is to really dive into the different services and the different planning initiatives that we're doing, ensuring that they meet the needs of low income seniors and limited English proficiency.
low income seniors and,
Limited English proficiency.
okay. Okay.
But we really do thank you for applying, and this is actually a new arena for us. It's been a while since we've had two people in general who have been going for an interim board position, so. Thank you very much, and I know this is a hard discussion, so, or decision to make for the board members. So thank you so much for being.
Thank you very much.
Part of
For
it.
sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, with that, I'll go ahead and move on to, the approval to work with the Executive Committee for potential land acquisition opportunities. As I provided in your materials, a memo regarding my ask. So my ask is that the board approve me to work with the board executive committee, which is Greg, the secretary treasurer, as well as Megan Ramey, to engage in preliminary acquisition activities to procure land or property that can be used as a park and ride if an opportunity arises that is close to the CAT Transit Center and would meet district needs. Are there any questions on that?
But in order to make a decision to purchase, that would require you to come back to the board or have a special meeting or something like that.
I think we need to discuss that. I think it also depends on what the dollar amount is of what that land may be.
Yeah.
So the board can, if you would like to approve the request, but create some constraints. I think you could say the board would approve this up to a certain dollar amount that you feel comfortable with. Or if there is actual decision to purchase the property, that we come back for a special meeting. I think the intent of my request is to make it so that if an opportunity does come up, I can move nimbly and quickly, as sometimes a special meeting does take a while.
With just the executive committee, is what
Correct.
that's what your ask is?
Yes,
Okay, okay. That's- And I mean, I'm not on the executive committee, so but I totally approve of it. We voted you guys in for that. Higher responsibility. And I agree with what you're saying. There's sometimes where calling a board is like chasing cats to get a quorum in. And this is for growth and our potential. I am fine with having the executive committee working with you and being able to approve this.
So it sounds like we have a motion or a first, without any conditions. Do we have a second on that?
I second.
Further discussion? Okay, not hearing any. All those in favor of approval to work with the executive committee on potential land acquisition opportunities, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed or contrary minded? Okay, chair votes aye. That has passed. Thank you, Amy.
thank you.
I believe now we're on to agenda item number 7, which is the operations manager report. Jeff, go ahead.
Okay, I think going forward, if it's okay with everybody, I'm not gonna read every number because saw them. I'm just gonna highlight things that
You don't need to zone out while you're.
yeah, exactly. I think just first of all, the safety score, I'll point out that it went up. I think last time we talked about it being due to speeding and that we were having conversations with our drivers, so it's good to see a small improvement there, but nonetheless an improvement. And also our harsh events went down. I think on the next part, we have miles driven went down. Mostly because our service went down as well as our hours. Fuel costs went down, and cost of fuel is seems like it's going up. We had quite the month for complaints and incidents. So some of these complaints were first filed as incidents and then became complaints later on. The big ones that we want to call out is the customer called frustrated about our posted schedules at Cascade Locks and the CAT website, that the CAT website is confusing. We removed all non-essential info from bus stop and working on outreach in Cascade Locks. That was something that Amy and I both kind of doubled up on a long phone call with a disgruntled rider. The other one was driver hit a curb turning into Walmart, and it bounced a passenger out of the chair. I feel like, did I say that last month? Did I say that one to you guys last month? Okay. Driver hit curb, turning into Walmart, and passenger hurt their back due to the bump. That claim is being finalized by our insurance. And this was, they called and made a formal complaint because of this incident.
Jeff, on that incident, was there any medical attention administered immediately, or is this like after the fact claim?
It was after the fact. Yeah, it happened over the weekend, and I don't think we found, it's like either Saturday or Sunday. We didn't hear about it until I think the following Monday.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, any other questions on that? Okay. Then we had another, this one happened in August. And the passenger didn't make the complaint until September, that their wheelchair was not properly strapped down, and on our HR Connect run, and there was damage done to the wheelchair. So they're making a claim that we repair their chair. That one is also being handled by our insurance for obvious reasons. It's and that was a formal complaint that's also made on that one.
And our employees remember that exact incident and what went on with it?
Yeah, so the person involved, yeah, we reached out to them. I have text messages between the two of us that I sent on to our insurance of what happened from their perspective. And I documented our route sheets to make sure the stories lined up with our ridership, and also the timing of the claim of the incident, that it makes sense with the run that we were doing. So
And that individual has also talked to the insurance company as well, so it's included in their report.
So is it an open investigation, or has it been concluded and finalized?
so these are all open.
Okay.
My understanding is they're being finalized, but yes, still open.
Another fun one to call out is the hubcap fell off of one of our vehicles while driving down Highway 35, and it was run over by someone else in a truck. And we have removed all our hubcaps from all of our vehicles because it just doesn't make sense to have that happen again for something that's quite frankly cosmetic. And that is also I don't think that one's closed either.
I don't think that's closed. Just a little more information on the hubcap removal. That is a common practice. Both of the organizations I've worked for before, CAT, that was common practice to reduce issues like this. So.
And then all the other incidents were similar to what we've reported in the past of people bumping into gates and just things in our lot that don't cause any damage. That's worth claiming on insurance.
And as we look into, or as we go down this path of expanding our property to ensure that there is adequate storage for our vehicles, the intent is to ensure that a lot of those issues go down. because we will have more space to move these buses around, these large buses.
We are working with a small space, that is
Yes.
true. Small space and big buses, okay. Any questions on incidents? Otherwise I'm gonna move on to just things that we got going on, for lack of a better term. Prepping for the winter season, right now we are, talking to the port. Sounds like we're gonna have to move our bus stop from the event site for our Gorge to Mountain service to the actual port. They have historically charged us to park there, and we use that as a parking ride, and it's no longer a parking ride, and the port is gonna be charging passengers to park there, so we decided it was best to move our stop to, well, not only does it reduce the amount of bus stops we have, but to yeah, just to relocate to and try to encourage people to park here and use our free services, because that was the intention, our free parking here, and then also Smiley's was the next closest, the Red Barn on Highway 35, to get passengers parking there. They're also welcome to continue using the event site. They'll just have to walk to our port bus stop. Which I don't add to that.
Oh, just for people who might not be as familiar with the different stops. So the historical Gorge to Mountain bus stop was actually in the event site. And the one that we're proposing to use instead is at First in Riverside by the Sinclair gas station, which is our current bus stop. We used to serve that bus stop with big coach buses. So we feel that we can adequately use that stop, and then we don't have to pay for the event site, and we don't have to pay for plowing and other expenses. So we will be working with our messaging and our communications to ensure that riders understand that they can still drop people off at that spot, and they can still park at the port. They will just have to find one of the paid spaces and pay for parking. We are going to make sure that our current park and ride that is at our facility will be available, and we won't be storing any buses so that we can fit as many riders in there as possible. And then we are, Jeff is going to be reaching out to Smiley and to make sure that they understand that there's probably going to be a little more demand, and then maybe looking at some other solutions as well. To ensure that people have access to parking rights.
But aren't buses stored at the port?
They were,
yeah.
but we sold, those are the two big coach buses
That have been
that,
sold?
yeah, we sold those.
Okay. Because like out here, do we have the space to not park buses here?
So we're gonna have to figure out where to park our buses.
Okay.
So there's a couple of solutions that Jeff and I are trying to research. One of them is potentially working with some of our partners, or not partners, but some neighbors to see if we can store some buses on their property. And to be creative in that solution so that we can make sure that all of those 45 spaces are available. Yeah. In the years past, those have typically, there's been buses in those spaces. So capacity, we've always been at probably about 75%, but that does fill up. So I think making sure that we have that additional 25% will help. I think we're still gonna probably have to figure out some other creative solutions to ensure that people who do want to park and ride have the ability to do so.
How long can a vehicle stay there? Say if someone did
Down
it?
here,
Yeah,
we do not technically have any time limits.
okay.
We do ask if anyone's gonna be parking their car there overnight for several days to let us know so that we don't call the cops and report the vehicle.
We also monitor for, people camping, and
Yeah.
I know last winter, there were a few like employees that wanted to live in their vehicles down there, so that was,
And
Okay.
Tough to
that we
navigate.
cannot allow.
Okay. And then my last question. Do we have to plow that and keep that, maintain that?
This park and ride?
Yes,
Yes,
we do.
so we do plow it. We use our our mechanic, Nick Herman.
Okay,
He
Nick
plows
plows.
all of our facilities and he was plowing the port for us.
okay. Okay.
Any questions on that? Well, I think we had a chat. Oops. Oh, okay.
Okay,
Go ahead.
all right, next part of the winter update was we're discussing moving the possibility of moving the teacup bus stop from the east to west. I think it's from the east side to the west side of the lot, so we're actually dropping,
North and south, right?
it's east and west.
Is it? Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. Uh-oh.
No, you're good.
The other side of, basically
Closer to
at
the
the
entrance of
trailhead,
Teacup.
yeah, so people aren't having to walk all the way. There's been requests from some of the cross-country skiers stating that it's dangerous for them to walk across the, like through, it's a pretty long lot, like I don't know, close to a quarter mile through icy conditions. So we're actually working with Hovey right now to find out if ODOT can keep an area clear for us, and then there's a ADA parking spot there, and to see if there's any conflicts with changing that bus stop. So yeah, more.
Jeff, that's a tough one in the winter because it is so congested at that turn. It gets really narrow because everybody backs in. They tried to park them straight in. And people park wherever to try to navigate a bus through that area.
Yeah,
it's tight.
I don't want, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that's really tight and there's not much room to pull off because it's right at the highway there. The other end of the parking lot does provide a lot more room, but
Are you thinking, we're not gonna drive through the lot, you think that even that just one little section is not enough to pull in and pull out?
yeah, the
Is that
way
what you're
people
saying?
park sometimes, that's really tight, even just to make that turn. But if you guys find it usable, it just seems challenging to me.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we're trying to figure out with Hovey, if we can block some of that off so that people can't park and they have to utilize the other end of the lot for parking.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, that is one of our concerns. Yeah, other than that, we're getting vehicles ready. I'm not gonna go into that right now, because I think that was enough for winter.
Just the one other thing with employees.
Oh, yeah, the other thing is, we are working on trying to find, some kind of incentive for drivers that, follows, the BOLI. Rules where there's, I don't know if conflict's the right word, but there are drivers that are hard no on driving the winter routes. Some of them don't have the ability to chain a bus, and there are some drivers that are willing, and, we feel like I mean, we know that it's a much dangerous route to drive, and are trying to figure out ways to keep people interested in continuing to do that.
And I think there's a
Service.
specific skill set that we're looking for drivers who are driving that service. And I think it's important because of the different conditions that they encounter.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Auctioning vehicles, we are currently selling one Gillig, number 215. It's one that doesn't currently operate, and that went up for auction. We're just waiting to hear back from the auction to just confirm that they received all the paperwork. We're also selling, we have received a truck from, I think that was from TriMet. It's a F-350 that we were putting a plow on. And it's basically just, we've probably used it under 10 times since we've got it, and we have another vehicle that we're using for office staff or making runs, picking up brochures and stuff like that. We're selling the plow with the truck because our mechanic had already started putting the plow on it, so we figured instead of disassembling it and trying to sell it, we'll sell it as a package. We pretty much got the truck for incredibly low price, basically free. So we're gonna try to recoup our money on the plow and use the truck as kind of a bonus to get the money back, like full value back for the plow.
And that's just going to the same auctioneer? or auction
Yeah.
house?
Yep. Yeah, anything we sell going forward will be through that auction house.
And we will send that link out to you all in case anybody is interested or know of anybody who might be interested.
Okay, dispatch report, I think last time we talked about the changing back to Unite, we did do that, and Amy negotiated a new price with downtowner, so we're able to use the dial-a-ride service, and we reached out to Unite to just make sure we're we're on month to month with them, so just standing on good terms, and seems like everybody's happy and moving forward, and we have functioning dispatching software. And we're still gonna look for a more improved program, but I think for the time being, we're using the stuff that we're comfortable using. Okay, employee of the month is Tia.
I think she left the room. She was being here, part of
Where is the confetti?
the.
One quick thing about employee of the month, we did open it up to, did this, I keep thinking, I'm having like deja vu today, I keep thinking I said all this last time. We opened it up in a jot form so that all of the employees can have a say in who they want to vote, instead of just management deciding who the employee of the month is, so we get a better, well-rounded, we might not see some things that some of the other drivers might see from some of their coworkers. Anyways, so Tia loves being at CAT. It is so apparent that there are times when we find ourselves needing to gently nudge her to leave, aka kick her out. She demonstrates a high level of support for her coworkers and generally wants to know what you did over the weekend. Tia is constantly prepared to offer assistance, even when her desk is overflowing with invoices. So thanks, Tia, for your help.
Thank you. I really enjoy being a part of the team.
It's awesome. Congratulations.
I think it's very important that we're recognizing and just to be clear, I'm the only one that's not part of that. So I do think it's important that all of my upper management team, but then my supervisors and dispatchers and our drivers all have the opportunity to be employee of the month, because it really is the team that makes this operation work. So, thank you, Tia.
Okay, moving on to ridership. Kind of took a deep dive into this rabbit hole. The yellow that you can see, I don't know if you guys got ones that have yellow highlights. So I've been going through all of the old ridership and correcting formulas that may have been broken. We found some errors. None of the errors were made a huge impact, and just making sure that going forward our ridership program is consistent from employee to employee, or if it's getting passed on, if somebody's not here, there just wasn't a great system in place of who does it if this person's gone. And so anything that's highlighted, if you compare it to your old whatever you got last month, those are the ones that I've made changes on. And like I said, these are just we didn't change, there were formulas that weren't complete, and then I just made sure they're all working. If you have any questions on that, let me know and I can get more details. But other than that, let's see. So overall, we were down from last year, but not much. That's mostly due to the DELs. We didn't have the DELs run, or Cascade locks were both significantly lower because we only ran one weekend of that in September. City and CGE on their own were above what they were last year, but lower than last month, because that we also ended the full CGE service city, I'm assuming is down just because the seasons are slowing down. Wasn't down by a ton. I think it's like 200, close to around 200 riders. The other thing about CGE having less hours, I thought this was cool that CGE had less hours this September, but it had more ridership, so we're getting more riders per hour for that run. And then I think, yeah, the only other note I had, I think I already said that we ended white salmon and Cascade locks early, so it was, or not early, but or I guess early in September. Yeah, I think that's all I had to call out on ridership.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Is that the end of,
that's the end of my operations report.
all right. Go Amy, good timing. No, she'll be right back. While we
So
wait,
T-
does any,
All we
yeah,
need, we're just waiting on the executive director report.
yes.
Yeah. And
Does anybody have any-
Jeff, the Dal's service discontinuing is having an effect on the numbers as well.
Yeah, you're asking, yeah, I think it was just only, like, the difference between last September was like around 100, and I think we obviously had 0, and then last, where is the Dells?
There's
like
no
300
numbers for the last 3 months there, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
There's 387 last September, so that's, yeah, almost 400.
I just try to kill time while we were waiting on Amy, just helping.
Yeah, no
Thank
worries.
you, sorry. All right, you ready for me?
Yep.
All right,
Yes.
perfect. Okay, so my first item is the compliance review. This is for informational purposes only. As you are all aware, we had a compliance review that was completed by ODOT and their consultants on September 25th and 26th. The review is fairly comprehensive and reviewed our program management, our financial management, operations management, procurement, use and maintenance of project equipment, civil rights, American with Disabilities Act, charter and school bus, and statewide transportation improvement fund. There are minimal findings. Those findings were in financial management. In our financial management policy, we needed to just update a couple information or pieces about the allowability of costs. And we were given specific information by the consultant of what to provide. In the procurement section, some of the procurement policy or the pieces in the procurement policy were outdated. So we are to update the procurement policy. And then also there was no independent cost estimate that was in the procurement policy. So we earned a couple of the procurements. So that has been updated as well. For the use of maintenance of project equipment, our facility maintenance plan needed to be updated to include a system of periodic inspections and preventive maintenance concerning its FTA funded bus shelters. And then also making sure the completed facility maintenance checklists were maintained in an appropriate fashion. And then in our American with Disabilities Act section, there was a couple of different findings of things that we need to add to our website. There was a couple of suggestions on changing where information about our ADA policies were located on the website to make it easier for people to find, as well as some updates to our passenger rules of conduct document, ensuring that it lists specific behaviors that can lead to refusal of service. Also, there in our complimentary paratransit plan, there was a couple references to common wheelchair that needs to be updated and changed, as that's not appropriate wording to include. And then yeah, I already addressed that one. Those were our findings. Once we get a finalized report, I will send it out to the board, so you have that for your records. But that is, in order to, fix those findings, we will need to update our financial management policy, our website, and the procurement policy. So at the next board meeting, please expect to see the financial management policy as well as the procurement policy for you to review. Wolfie, is there anything else that you'd like to add to that information? I know you weren't there at our review, but is there anything that you think the board should know?
No, I think we are gonna work together to help get all of these in alignment, so it's not anything punitive as far as a compliance review. It is to help improve processes within the state. So with that context, we'll make sure that we've got everything set up in the right way, and then there'll be more to come as far as potential trainings for even the board members on how transit operates within these grants in the coming year.
Perfect. Thanks, Hobie.
Thank you.
All right, so the next agenda item is the recently awarded grants update. Again, this is for informational purposes only. The first one is the carbon reduction program. I'm working with the ODOT team to create an agreement and expecting implementation to begin at the beginning of January 2024. And that was specifically for the e-bike lending library. There's a couple of snags, but I am hoping to implement that in the new year, and we'll have more to come on that. The second would be the inebriated driving reduction grant through ODOT. I'm also in the agreement phase with them as well. However, I think that agreement process will go a little quicker, and hoping that I can start at the foundation of the program. So sorry, back up. This grant is for the taxi vouchers that would allow people to go to different establishments in the city of Hood River and then use a voucher with one of the local taxis to get them home, and then we would reimburse the taxi for that amount. And there will be pieces to encourage, or sorry, people can get more funds to use on the taxi if they use public transit. So I am hoping to start the foundation of that program. So agreements with taxi providers, press release, creation of marketing materials, etc. in late November. Related to this, I am working with Visit Hood River and the local taxi companies to increase awareness of local transportation options. This is something that the city council has asked us to work together on as part of the discussion regarding Uber and Lyft in the city of Hood River. Any questions on that?
No, I was just curious if that was related to Uber and Lyft, but thank you for answering my question. Yeah.
And then, so the third is the travel trainer video. This is for informational purposes only. As you know, Kat and the Link have partnered to bring travel training support to Wasco and Hood River counties. And McKed had funds to create some great videos, and I wanted to share a couple of them. A link to the Gorge TransLink website is available on our website, and it's under the Ride Cat information. So let me just share my screen real quick. I thought Kathy did a wonderful job, as well as Sarah and Emily, who kind of made these videos happen. Okay, so this is the Gorge TransLink. Oh, of course, it's not showing up on. Hold on for a second. No. I'm sorry, hold on 1 second. right, so. Let's see if I can get those.
Got all the obstacles.
I know.
This position, if you can believe it, is almost like a dream job. I like meeting new people, and what a job. I mean, I meet new people all the time. You never know when you get to a website who's gonna be there. You get to talk different things, you get to know people.
We have a city bus route. That's amazing. We have dial-a ride that gets people to and from the store or doctor's appointments. We have trips that you get to Portland, so you can down to the airport. We are very personal, and I think people really appreciate that.
With the expansion of our transit program, we are now able to connect with CAT in Cascade Box. And we also connect with Mount Adams in Clifford County. That just allows so much greater access to our small community.
I take pride in this work. Yeah, I'm getting older, and my wife and I figured out how I did applying for this job. We're people, and actually my social work thinking into place. That's really important on many different levels to have this job and do what it does with service to the community.
I do feel like this system is accessible to everybody and brings in a lot of the communities around the river to come together.
I would say that it's way easier than you think. Go on ridecatbus.org, with the schedule, bus will be there when it says it's gonna be there. And get your gorge pass, and that's all you need. Go anywhere in the gorge.
I too thought the passengers, the one-on-one contact. I totally believe in public transportation. It is such a need in this area. There's a big group of people that are all working together, collaborating, trying to make this all work. Yeah, I enjoy my job and I enjoy the people I work with. It's been a great job.
Coming to work here is like, second home for me. Everybody is, is on the same page, and we're good to even, try to, lift each other up and reach the next stage of whatever they're searching for.
The link staff is great. We were able to provide that service because of them. They come in, they do the driving, they do the booking, all the booking the rides and EMT rides, and I get credit to those individuals. It's really meaningful to get to have the opportunity to serve the community.
Welcome to your regional transit system.
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 Bienvenido a su sistema de tránsito regional.
All right. So yeah, so the purpose of that video was really to give an introduction of the Gorge Translink system, which is all the 4 providers that are part of the Gorge Pass. There are also on that website, and I will send that link out to everybody, but there are other videos that introduce Sarah Crook, who is the travel trainer, but also shows how to use the website and other really useful tools to help people get more familiar with the system and how to use transit before they actually do it. Any questions on that?
Nope, thanks for sharing.
Okay, great. And then the next item is the website update. Again, so this is mostly for informational purposes, but I am asking for your feedback. I did send the link out to all board members. And let me share my screen again. But the purpose of updating the front page of the website was to make it easier for people to see I'm trying to do 2 things at once. Easier for people to see the service alerts, also make it easier for us to add longer service alerts. which is over here in service updates. That of course is super important during the winter because of all the updates that we have to do or if cancellations occur. And then we also added an interactive service map. So people can simply move their cursor over the different routes, and then they click on it and it'll take them to the actual page. I've shown this to staff. Our initial feedback is I think there are some updates that we want to make to the map. Also change these buttons up here. But is there anything else that you guys can see that you might suggest making changes to? You can also think about this and send me an email with any things you'd like me to think about.
On the Where's My Bus link, where will that go?
So that will take them to Samsara, which is how we track our buses. And it just shows all of the buses. So people kind of have to know the system to find out where their bus specifically is at.
So you won't be able to see what your route is, just if a bus is headed your direction.
Correct. Let me see if I can click if it.
It wasn't live when I checked it earlier, but.
Okay, let's see.
Oh, so you have to click that and then click track my bus. It doesn't take you immediately to this.
Correct. We're gonna change it so it takes you directly to this screen here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any initial thoughts?
I love everything you do, so please, keep going. The one thought I did have is because we are trying to get more people to, take our bus into Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a link on our website to go to the our stop in Portland that
Gateway.
show gateway, and then once you click on that gateway, it shows you bus routes from there or
Oh,
Like TriMet.
TriMet, routes.
Yeah.
Is there even a, just a link to go to their website? Kind of to have encourage people to go to the next step.
Like
I don't think we
connections to
do.
the airport and
Yeah.
other places. Kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, because that is part of the purpose of taking people into town. And just having since they're here, not having them go out of here, but just stay in and go, if that's possible. That's just a
Yeah.
thought.
Don't we have a trip planner?
I think we do have a trip planner, so that would help give that information. And we did take that trip planner off because we were having problems with it. But there is a trip planner in Gorge Translate. But I think ultimately, to answer your question, I think there's definitely a couple of things that we could do. We do have down here Gateway
Right.
Transit Center, and that, that there's max transfer and that type of stuff.
Right.
But I like that idea, and I'll look into that, see what we can do.
Yeah, I think those are great improvements, Amy, and if the board could take some time to go through it and give you feedback, that'd be great.
100%, that would be wonderful. I would appreciate it very much. And that's our current.
Amy,
Yeah.
if you do that and you have an iPhone, I don't know what it's like if you don't have an iPhone. But on your iPhone, you just put in transit instead of car or walking. And that's how I get it. I mean, that's how I very easily figure out how to get to all the different TriMet, transportation modes.
Yeah, Google Maps, if you go into Maps and you just put transit,
Yeah.
it works well for Android phones as well. We're having some problems with our GTFS feed that connects our schedules with the Google Maps. I think that for the most part has been reflected. We did put a disclaimer up here because we were having problems with folks using Google Maps and then having old schedules and things. I think that has mostly been resolved. Kathy, would you agree, or are you still seeing issues?
Yeah, there's still issues and there still will be issues and they happen on and off. So it's really the the map companies, so whether it's Google or Apple or whoever, whoever, whatever map company you're going to, they just have different ways uh, of weighting or prioritizing services. So what happens in rural areas with smaller services is the Greyhound, for instance, if you were trying to get from the Dalles to Hood River, sometimes, not always, but sometimes only Greyhound, the only service that will show up is Greyhound. So the specifics, we can work with Trillium. They're the ones that create our GTFS data. And if there are specific things wrong, like if they got a bus stop in the wrong location, or if the schedule is reflecting a wrong time, or just recently I've had to connect with them because the Dalles to the Hood River service was still, they were linking that to CAT's website. So instead of the links, instead of the Gorge Translink, basically is where it should take them to. So take riders to if they're looking, if they need to actually look up the provider of that service. So so we can fix from our end, as long as we're paying attention, we can fix the details of our services, but whether or not our services display is just the way that Google works and Apple Maps and everybody else works. So so when we're talking about a trip planner and the trip planner that was on the CAT website, it was the Google Maps embedded trip planner. That's where it would take you to, was Google Maps. So and this is across the board an issue across the country. So what Washington is doing about it is they are working on a statewide trip planner, because to create the expense the expense of creating your own, not just creating your own, but maintaining your own trip planner is really big. And plus, nobody would ever, well, you could put it on your website, but if you have visitors and stuff, they're all going to go to Google Maps anyway. But if there's a statewide trip planner, that makes that makes it just so much more visible. And so when WashDOT gets their statewide trip planner in action, what we can hope for is that ODOT will follow suit and provide some of these, which they are doing, like the GTFS services, like access to Remix, where they're providing these things statewide. So what would be awesome is that, let's say, for instance, California, Oregon, and Washington all are included in a single trip planner, which would be amazing for all of the rural areas of these states. I do want to say that WashDOT will include our Columbia River counties on the Oregon side in their statewide trip planner, because I have the ear of the guy that's making it. So anyway, so we'll be so we'll be in that one, but it's still, if it'll be great to have that on the website. It's just, until Oregon creates a statewide trip planner, it won't be completely useful, if you know what I mean.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, so if you guys could review the website and then just respond to me only via email, that would be great, with your thoughts and any other feedback you might have. Cool. So to get us done by 5:30, for the upcoming presentation agenda item, again, this is for your informational purposes only. I have 2 conferences coming up where I will be presenting about using transit to serve recreational sites. More specifically, I'll be discussing the Gorge to Mountain service as well as the Columbia Gorge Express services. Key points will be how the service started, what are the use cases for when people use these services, how we've implemented them, and challenges that we have faced, as well as lessons learned. I want to make sure that you are aware of these conversations that are happening, but I also want to make sure that you are aware that I will be in and out of the office for the next couple month or ish, as these are all out of town conferences. There will also be another conference that I'm attending in the beginning of December. It's the National Rural Transit Assistance Program Conference in Myrtle Beach, which offers a wonderful diversity of trainings
South Carolina.
that, oh, wait, what did I say? Oh,
Myrtle Beach, yeah.
yeah,
it's
Myrtle
not-
Beach. Yeah, it's a
not like
horrible.
down the road.
No, it's a horrible location.
Yeah.
It was suggested by ODOT that we do attend this. It goes over a lot of the different compliance review items that we had talked about. And it's covered 80% by a scholarship. So it'll only be a couple $100 that the district will be responsible for,
Enjoy.
as are all the other conferences that I will be attending as well. So, but yes, it's a horrible location. They really made bad choices about choosing that location. But also a lot of learning. So, okay. And then that is it for my executive report.
All right, thank you, Amy. Appreciate that. On to item number 9, anybody have any other discussion items they'd like to talk about? Okay, not hearing any. Any upcoming events the board would like to share?
The only thing I just want to make sure is on everybody's radar. So we'll do next board meeting, we'll do oath of office, as well as election for the secretary treasurer position on the executive committee at our next
Okay.
board meeting.
Christmas
Oh.
party December 9th.
Christmas party, December 9th. I hope
Great,
you'll
thank you,
receive
Jeff. I
that
have it on the
email.
calendar.
Yep, and we would love for you to bring your spouse. This year, we won't have it open to family. I misspoke, Elzar, when I talked to you, just because we will be having it catered.
Okay.
My kids are out of the house, so I'm good.
Okay.
It's my wife and I.
Okay, wonderful. All right.
Thank you. All right, no other upcoming events. Thank you for the Christmas party thing. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Tamara. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Gisela. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank goodness. Chair votes aye. Thank you for a well-run meeting, Amy, and keeping us right on time. Great information. Appreciate everybody's commitment here. And Matt, welcome to board. And Jody, look forward to working with you on the committees. Thanks for staying involved. We love it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Holiday party for the record.
Just holiday.